Hi. I know, I said I was retired. And I kind of still am, but there was something I had to do.
Before we get to the main feature, I want to give a quick look at how my collection is looking. The DVD shelf hasn't changed much, maybe a few new shelves here and there. Yeah, it's mostly the same. The VHS shelf is on the opposite side of the room from the DVD shelf, and not much has changed there either. I've got all the VHS tapes together, and yeah, not much has changed there. One notable thing, I finally have Yogi Bear. Cool. What I want to properly show off is my TV unit. This is something I put a lot of thought into. My goal here is to have the main things that mean the most to me on center display. So let's have a look at this. Going left to right, we have my Pokemon collection. It's every box set from Indigo League to Sinnoh League Victors. I started collecting these a few years ago. When I got to Sinnoh, I decided to sit down and rewatch the show, and it was the most monotonous thing in the world. If you've ever watched the Johto era, especially Johto League Champions, you'll know how bad it is. So I haven't collected anything past Sinnoh. I have no desire to pick up the rest. It's an awful show, but I figured it would look good on display. Next, the Looney Tunes Golden Collection. I've made videos for this collection multiple times. You know my thoughts there. They are my favourite DVDs in my entire collection. We have my original Portuguese individual sets, as well as Looney Tunes Stranger Than Fiction, a couple of Portuguese Bugs Bunny DVDs, and on top, my English Golden Collection box set. Have to have that on display. Next, we have Disney 57. Of course, I've highlighted that in Video Memories. It is a fantastic collection of Disney Blu-rays and DVDs. It is probably as good as you're going to get. That was actually a late entry. I had some space available. I saw the box set elsewhere, and I thought, could that fit here? And sure enough, it does. Underneath all that, we have probably my proudest collection, my VHS recordings, all together, all conveniently labeled. Yeah. Center stage, we have Back to the Future. This is my entire collection of that trilogy of movies. We've got VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, the animated TV show, and the Telltale game, as well as something else, but we'll build up to that. Now we have some books. This is my fiction section. It includes Back to the Future, Jules Verne, Roald Dahl, and a collection of The Simpsons, among other things. Yeah. Next, non-fiction. This is more my area. Underneath that, we have my collection of Thomas DVDs, both UK and American. I collected the British DVDs as they came out, and the majority of my American DVDs I picked up in Canada in 1 week in 2008. And guarding them all is the most vicious predator in the Serengeti.
Simba.
Here, we have some junk. VHS, CDs, books, rubbing alcohol for when I need to clean a PC, and a box full of cables. And here is what I want to talk about the most. My Laserdisc collection. Alright, if you've never seen them before, this is what a Laserdisc looks like. It's about the same size as a vinyl record, and it came out in 1978 and lasted until about 2000. And honestly, that's impressive because the Laserdisc format was never really successful. It just never really caught on compared to VHS or DVD. And honestly, I didn't even hear about Laserdisc until probably a decade ago. I never owned one. No one in my family owned one. It was just too expensive compared to the other formats. For context, this is what a DVD looks like, and this is a Laserdisc. You can tell the size difference. DVD was just more convenient. It was cheaper. It could hold more data. A Laserdisc can hold 60 minutes per side at most.
So you can imagine you're watching a movie, and then halfway through you'd have to get up and flip the disc. That is just not appealing. And that's just even before the expense. Now I must say, picking up Laserdisc for the first time was very surreal. If you know my content, you know I grew up in the era of VHS, and I was there kind of for the birth of DVD. And that was a weird feeling as well. You go from a video cassette to a disc, and it's kind of weird to just pick up a new format like that and have to learn how the mechanics work. And it was kind of the same with Laserdisc, because you go from DVD to Blu-ray, you don't really know as much of a difference apart from obviously the visual quality. But then you pick up this giant disc. This was weird. This was a really weird feeling. It actually reminds me of this YouTube video I saw. It's where this guy is showing his young children how VHS works. He hands them a giant cassette like this, and they have no idea what it is. And you sort of take these things for granted when you're there, when in the format's lifespan, and you don't question it. And then you see a new generation get introduced to these things, and they have no idea what these things are. It's truly a mind-blowing experience. So yeah, rambly introduction over. We're going to jump back in time now and have a look at my collection. Fade to black. Right, before we get started, I just want to say, if you want to learn any more about the backstory, the history and functionality of Laserdiscs, I recommend checking out this playlist right here from Technology Connections. This channel can explain Laserdisc better than I ever could. So yeah, check it out. Now, when you adopt a new media format, you make a list of movies you want, and you start with movies that mean the most to you. And for me, the first Laserdisc I ever bought was Toy Story. It was I was looking on eBay for movies I loved. It was very cheap. It felt like a good place to start. This disc comes with a trailer and some making of documentaries. Cool. Also on the list was The Lion King. You know the story there. It's my favorite Disney movie, and yeah, I had to have this. Mrs. Doubtfire. I've probably mentioned this before. It's a movie. It's a movie that most of my family owns. It was back in the VHS era. There was like an unspoken rule where everyone had to own this. Unfortunately, this Laserdisc release has a pretty bad print of the movie. It's very pixelated, and the last 15 minutes of the movie is actually on a second disc. So yeah, so I wasn't too happy about that. So I bought another one. This one's in PAL. I should probably mention now, it's like VHS and DVD. Laserdisc came out in PAL and NTSC, and only certain players can play certain discs. Thankfully, the one I have can play both, and this compresses the movie onto one disc. So that's great. I should actually mention I'm not fond of the plastic sleeves these discs come in compared to the paper sleeves. These ones feel more secure, and they're easier to get discs in and out of. So that's handy. Groundhog Day, one of my absolute favorite movies. I think the only time I've ever really talked about it was in my top 10 movies for video memories. This is my favorite movie that isn't a Back to the Future movie. And it's a yearly tradition. I don't even celebrate the holiday. We don't do that in the UK, but every February, I gotta watch this one. Now, of course, we have to have Pinocchio. Until maybe last year, I didn't realize how many copies of this movie I owned. So, I'm collecting a new format. I love the movie to death. I had to have it. But of course, if I have Pinocchio, I have to have Back to the Future. This is the original 1986 Laserdisc release, and yeah, that's pretty cool. It's NTSC, so it was probably the first. It would have been the first actually release for Back to the Future outside of VHS. And yeah, this is pretty cool. I do actually own the entire trilogy on Laserdisc in the PAL format. That's in the main Back to the Future collection. But for this one, this is in the Laserdisc collection. The PAL discs, I'm not sure when they're from. I think they're from the mid-90s. So, but hey, I've got the original. And that's awesome. Now, of course, it's not just movies I love. I had to make a list of movies my wife loved. And the first movie that came to mind for her was Jurassic Park. She loves this franchise. The original movie is in her top 10, actually top 5 actually, for movies of all time. She loves this movie. But if there's a movie that defines her love of movies in general, other than Jurassic Park, it's Alien. From what she's told me, she saw this when she was maybe 6 and it changed her life. This is the movie that kickstarted her love of the horror genre. But if you want to talk pure comfort when it comes to movies, you can't get better for her than Nightmare Before Christmas. This is a movie she will watch whenever she's needing a pick-me-up, and yeah, it's not one of my favorites, but honestly, when it comes to Disney, this is technically her favorite Disney movie. And we do it every Halloween and every Christmas. And if the Christmas Advent Calendar wheel picks this, she will never complain. And then there's Who Framed Roger Rabbit, another movie she loves. Her favorite her favorite live action and animation hybrid. Yeah, Roger Rabbit. Now let's talk about the Laserdisc player for a minute. This is actually my second player. The first one I had a power fault about 3 weeks after I bought it, and it would have cost a fortune to get it replaced. So this is my new player. It is a Pioneer CLD D515. The CLD means it can play CDs as well as Laserdiscs, and the D means it can play double sides.
Of course, the enchantment under the sea dance. They're supposed to go to this. That's where they kiss for the first time.
All right, kid. You stick to your father like glue and make sure he takes you to that dance.
George, buddy. Remember that girl I introduced you to? Lorraine?
And when I bought this, the seller also threw in a handful of discs at no extra charge. So, yay, cool. First movie on the pile for this is Aliens. Now, as much as my wife loves the first movie, this is her all-time favourite action movie. And probably the movie she can quote the most outside of, I don't know, Space Jam or something. This is a special edition. It's widescreen and it has the original director's cut. So, cool. It's got a very cool inside as well with chapter selection. Yeah, awesome. Now, normally you wouldn't go past the first two Aliens, but the guy also had Alien 3, and you know, it's alright for what it is. It's a PAL disc, and I think it's only on one disc. I think Aliens is actually on 2, so yeah. Alien 3, another strike against it. It's in a plastic sleeve rather than paper, so yay. I may as well mention now that all 3 Alien movies have 3 trailers at the end of each movie for pretty much all 3 movies. So I think all 3 Alien discs, all 3 Alien releases I have were released probably in the mid-90s. Since they have the same set of trailers. So, yeah, 3 Alien movies have 3 trailers each. Cool. No one cares about Alien 3.
101 Dalmatians. Yeah, it's the live action one with Glenn Close, and yeah, she's great. It's Cruella de Vil. Yeah. Terminator 2, Judgment Day, pretty much the definitive action movie of the 1990s, and yes, I mean, obviously it's like Empire Strikes Back being everyone's favorite Star Wars movie. This is my favorite Terminator movie, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this one. It's on 2 discs, and the second half of the second disc has a giant making of documentary. Yeah, honestly, this is what was impressive about Laserdisc, how they were able to pull this off. And yeah, it's impressive. Die Hard, yay! It's a movie my wife and I have to have every December. And also, to avoid debate, in our house, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It's not up for debate. You can take Lethal Weapon, you can take Iron Man 3, but in our house, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. End of discussion. But yeah, great movie. Yeah, Die Hard. Cool. This is another one of those that has the trailer and and a documentary at the end. And not only did he have the first one, he had Die Hard 2. Another good movie. It's not as good as the first one, but it's a lot of fun, and it's got a great ending as well. Yeah, it's another big one. It's weird how some Laserdiscs are very expensive and informative like this, and sometimes you just have a basic case. But yeah, this is nice. This one also has the trailer for Die Hard 2 and Die Hard with a Vengeance, actually. So clearly, mid to late 90s release. I'm not sure when I'm not sure when the first Die Hard was released, but cool. Men in Black. This is an example of a movie on Laserdisc that has an audio commentary with it. It's with Barry Sonnenfeld, and as far as I know, the commentary on this did not make it to DVD or Blu-ray. So, yay, Laserdisc exclusive.
I wanted to basically do the same thing, but instead of with a feather, with a dragonfly, and then at the very end, squash the dragonfly and basically tell everyone in the audience this movie is not what you think it might be.
Con Air, for me, my favorite Nicolas Cage movie. And he's done a lot of them. Yeah, Con Air. The Lost World, Jurassic Park. I had to have... This is one that's actually incredibly common. It's more common than the original movie, I think, and... Yeah. Yeah, cards on the table. I'm not a big Jurassic Park fan. I liked the first movie, didn't care for most of the sequels. Jurassic World was okay, and then I didn't care for the rest, and then Dominion was god-awful. And yeah, but my wife likes The Lost World, so yeah. This one also has a featurette at the end. I mean, I imagine with animatronics like the ones in Jurassic Park, you cannot go wrong with a behind-the-scenes documentary. Yeah. We've got Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, it's a Jim Carrey movie from the 90s when he became massive, and yeah, it's a fun one. Anything interesting on the back? No. Just a standard case with standard credits and standard chapter listings. Yay, Dumb and Dumber. And to round off this section, we've got some Disney with Aladdin. I mean, you can't go wrong with Aladdin. It's one of the most iconic Disney movies of the 90s. And you gotta love Robin Williams. Yeah. Okay, now we're just gonna rattle off the rest of my collection. This is just miscellaneous mishmash. And to start off, we have the Aristocats. This is another movie with a second language, in this case, Spanish. And yeah, if you've seen Video Memories from 2019, you know my feelings with the Aristocats. It was the first Disney movie I ever owned. In fact, as we push into 2025, it will be the 30th anniversary of me getting this VHS tape, and yeah, that's trippy. So yeah, if you know my history with the Aristocats, you know how much I love the movie. Well, I like the movie. There are parts of it that obviously haven't held up, but I do still enjoy it. And the person who was selling Aristocats had something else on offer. So I grabbed that as well at a cheap cost. The Jungle Book. Yep, The Jungle Book. I don't think this has a second language. No, I don't think it does. So, the Aristocats was special. Now, of course, if you know me, I got to have the Universal Monsters somewhere. So we've got Dracula. Restored version, I'm not sure how much is in this compared to other versions. I mean, obviously it's not going to be as much as Blu-ray. But yeah, we've got Dracula. And of course, if we have Dracula, we got to have Frankenstein. This was the first black and white horror movie I ever saw, and probably still my favorite. So yeah, Frankenstein. Actually, something about these two movies, and I think most of the Universal Monster movies, they have the movies. The second side of each disc is in CAV, and it has each disc has a trailer for the movie and a photo gallery to see behind the scenes photos. So, yeah, cool. Next up, Matilda. Good movie. I grew up with it. I first saw it in Mrs. Doubtfire, and then I think I probably saw her in... did I see her in this or Magic Railroad? I can't remember. My wife and I met Mara Wilson a couple of years ago, actually, and she was really nice. And we talked about this in Magic Railroad, and yeah, this is her favourite movie she ever made. As for the disc, we've got a problem with this. This is a disc that is actually broken. Hold on, get that in a good light. Without the refresh. Yeah, that'll have to do. There's a giant crack going down the disc there, which hinders playback. It plays fine on side one. That's fine, but when it flips to the other side, the player can't read the disc, so... yeah. In fact, let's have a quick look at it.
Matilda, would you like to come over to my house this afternoon? Yes, I've been very much, Miss Honey.
So yeah, the player is trying to read the disc, but because there is a giant crack in it, it can't read it. Oh, we actually have a picture. A really, really unstable picture. Oh, God. Yep, it can't read it because of that giant crack. Oh, well. It's still a good movie, anyway. Oh, jeez. Yeah, this is what... you think DVDs are bad when they're scratched? This is what happens when a Laserdisc is broken. So yeah, that's a shame. Also, this is a problem with these plastic sleeves. You can never get the disc in without hassle. And then good luck getting it in the case without it getting crumpled. And you never know which discs are going to come with paper sleeves or plastic sleeves, so that's a pain. You know what the sucky thing is about Laserdisc? I checked for this franchise. Not a single thing made it to Laserdisc. This was VHS and I suppose technically Betamax only. I mean, Magic Railroad, for example, this came out at the tail end of Laserdisc and... yeah, it just never made it.
I think it came out in October, so it would have been a couple months too late. I feel like if this came out like a year earlier, it would have made it. Oh well. That's just how it is. Although, despite the crack in the disc, Matilda is not the worst disc in the collection. That honor goes to Speed. Oh man, oh man. So, this one arrived a couple of days late and completely snapped in half. Yeah, so while Matilda can still play its first half, there's no way in hell this is going to work. Oh my god, this was... Oh. Thankfully, it wasn't a movie I was super hyped for getting. I just saw it because it was cheap, and yeah, I went for it. And then it arrived broken. So, this is excellent. This is great. So I went into the seller. He was pissed about it. Complaint went into the postal service, and I got a refund. So yeah, I don't know what happened, but I got a refund, and yeah, it sucks. And that throw just broke it. Oh, it's now completely snapped in half. Well, unlike Chad Valley, I'm in no rush to repair this. I don't even think I can repair it now. So yeah, Chad Valley, it's better than the Speed Laserdisc. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Anyway, one Laserdisc I was drawn to because of the cover was Creature from the Black Lagoon. Just look at this. This looks incredible. I think it's actually the same cover as the VHS tape. Hold on. It actually is. That's impressive. So yeah, if you love 1950s horror sci-fi, you gotta have Creature from the Black Lagoon. Wayne's World. This is a movie I was raised on. This is probably the first adult comedy movie I ever saw, and yeah, still one of the funniest of the 90s. And if you have Wayne's World 1, you have to have Wayne's World 2. I don't think I like this one as much as the first one, but it's still a good time. And now we've got some Universal Monster double features. Dracula's Daughter and Ghost of Frankenstein. Now, first of all, this was the first one I saw, and I love the idea of a Laserdisc double feature. Unfortunately, I thought it would be one movie on one disc, two movies on one disc with one on each side, but because a Laserdisc can only hold at most 60 minutes per side, they would have to split them between their own discs. And honestly, these two aren't even that much over an hour. And honestly, this is a weird combination: Dracula's Daughter and The Ghost of Frankenstein. You think they would have gone for Dracula's Daughter and either Bride of Frankenstein or Son of Frankenstein, but instead they went for Ghost. And you know, it's a really cool idea, this, to have a double feature like this. In a way, it brings back memories of the 90s when you would go into the video store and you would see double feature movies in like one cassette. It's like Space Jam and the Iron Giant, actually. So yeah, this is cool. Like Dracula and Frankenstein, and probably Creature from the Black Lagoon, actually. You get the movies, and you get trailers, and you get production photographs. Cool. Following on from that, we've got House of Frankenstein and House of Dracula. Well, yeah, these are two sequential movies. House of Frankenstein from 1944 and House of Dracula from 1945. Yep, that's cool. Same as the last one. Movies, trailers, photos, all that good stuff. Neither of these movies are particularly great. They try and cram like 3 or 4 monsters into one movie each, and unfortunately the movies just don't have the budget for this. House of Dracula especially, considering the entire ending is basically ripped from Ghost of Frankenstein. Oh well. And since we have Creature from the Black Lagoon, I had to get this. Revenge of the Creature, which from 1955, which has some of the worst wiring effects I've ever seen in a movie, and Creature Walks Among Us from 1956, which also exists. yeah, that's about it. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This is a movie I only discovered this year, I think, and it is really good. It's probably my favorite John Hughes movie, at least of the 80s. I'd have to go through them all. But yeah, Ferris Bueller, great movie. Beauty and the Beast. Now, this is really cool, actually. This is an unfinished cut of the movie. It was shown in a sneak preview, I think, in 1992, I think, before it was actually finished. So basically, you've got the entire movie, but some scenes haven't been animated properly. Sometimes it's only storyboards or basic drawings. And Beauty and the Beast isn't one of my favorite Disney movies, but this is a really cool idea. And there's a lot of bonus features here as well. You've got an alternate version of Be Our Guest. You've got the ballroom scene. You've got the trailers. Yeah, if it was just the regular movie, I probably wouldn't have bought it, but I love the idea of work in progress print. And as far as I know, this is the only Disney movie they ever did this with. So yeah, this is really a fascinating title here. Space Jam. I know. I speak ill of this movie all the time. When I dissed it a fair bit when I did the review, and yeah, it's a terrible movie, but it's a fun terrible. It's the kind of movie my wife can watch. It's like Nightmare Before Christmas, except nowhere near as high in quality. But yeah, I figured if I was going to get a gimmicky media system like Laserdisc, I had to get a gimmicky movie. So I figured, why not get Space Jam? And since I have Space Jam, why stop there? We have Tom and Jerry the movie on Laserdisc. Oh my god. Yeah. Did this in Video Memories. I spoke ill of it, but I've got a soft spot for this one. Probably, if I didn't have that VHS tape, that VHS recording from Cartoon Network, which is 24 years old now. Oh my god. I probably wouldn't care about this movie as much as I do, but yeah, I had to have Tom and Jerry. Actually, on the note of Tom and Jerry, there are Tom and Jerry Laserdisc compilations, but they're incredibly expensive. They only have the Hanna-Barbera and Chuck Jones lineup, and I don't even know if the Chuck Jones one is complete. And the Chuck Jones one is actually the most expensive. But honestly, I was contemplating getting them, but I have the entire Hanna-Barbera lineup on VHS, and honestly, VHS just feels more natural for Tom and Jerry. So yeah, that is out there, but it's even more expensive than Looney Tunes, and honestly, as far as I know, the prints on the Laserdisc releases are the exact same as on the VHS ones. So, honestly, I'm a giant Tom and Jerry fan, obviously, but I'm not really missing much by foregoing them for VHS. Then we've got Airplane, probably one of the funniest movies ever made. My wife showed me this on our honeymoon, actually. And I just couldn't stop laughing. It's easily my favorite spoof movie ever made. As great as Mel Brooks is, with Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, all them. Nothing beats Airplane for me. This is one of the most consistently funny movies I've ever seen. And yes, I am being serious on this. And the final movie I have is The Mask. Probably objectively Jim Carrey's best movie of the 90s, and this is actually the cheapest Laserdisc I ever bought out of the entire collection. It's cost me about $3.99 for this, with like £2 shipping or something. So the only other movie I think that can compete with that is Toy Story, just because of how common it is. But yeah, The Mask. And before we wrap up, we've got a few TV shows to look at. First up, Timon and Pumbaa's Wild Adventures. So this has, I think, 4 episodes from the TV show. And did I talk? Which Video Memories review did I talk about this? I think it was Time Shift Troubles. I love The Lion King. I love the TV show, and yeah, I couldn't pass this up. There are a couple of other Disney shows that got a similar release to this. Goof Troop has one. There's a couple from DuckTales. I think Aladdin has them as well. So I want to pick those up at some point. But yeah, Timon and Pumbaa. Great stuff. Wallace and Gromit. Wallace and Gromit is a British institution at this point. They have a new movie coming out, and it's probably because of the movie that I bought this. I wanted to rewatch the series. I saw this was on eBay, and yeah, Wallace and Gromit is incredible. Then we have Absolutely Fabulous seasons 1 and 2. I saw this at a very young age, earlier than when I was younger than I really should have. This was a show my mother loved back then. This is very hard arc levels of comedy, and yeah, this is good stuff. I haven't really watched the show extensively in a couple of years, actually, but yeah, this was probably the first adult sitcom I ever watched, and yeah, fab, good show. Now, this is a weird one. Predators of the Wild. It's a documentary series about various members of the animal kingdom. It's the kind of thing they're the kind of documentaries you would see on Nat Geo Wild, or even on BBC, narrated by David Attenborough. But yeah, this is cool, and it's also useful if I need to use clips for a video like this, because I assume this is public domain at this point.
Far from being floundering, legless beasts, snakes have risen from the primeval mist as awesome killers. More subtle than any other animal, they can move and strike with lightning speed. They've become one of the most feared creatures on Earth.
And to finish this up, because I'm a Looney Tunes lover, we've got the golden age of Looney Tunes. 70 complete uncut cartoons, 1933 to 1948. Oh, sweet Jesus, this release. There are multiple discs in this, and oh, Jesus, it's like an hour per side. The Predators of the Wild set had multiple discs as well, and I guess it must be one disc per animal species. But this is insane, the amount of content in this. And you know, what's worse, there are 5 volumes of this, but they are horrifically expensive on eBay. And see, even then, as nice as this is, it's not going to beat the Golden Collection. It's the same as the Collector's Choice Blu-ray set. Even if that stuff is really good, nothing beats the Golden Collection. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in this. There's a leaflet that comes with it that basically highlights what's on every disc. So yeah, that's cool. You got stuff for musicals, the first short for each character. You got stuff for the directors. Yeah, there's great stuff here. I would say the only downside to this, well, actually, there's a couple of downsides. One, the prints probably aren't that great, considering how old it is. And with the Bugs Bunny release, you get Bugs Nips the Nips, which is pretty much the worst Bugs Bunny short ever made. It was made in 1940. Is very derogatory towards Japanese people, and yes, one to be avoided. It was actually so bad that when this Laserdisc set was reissued, they actually cut that short for another one. I forget which one it is. So basically, Bugs Nips the Nips being in this is a rarity, and oh joy, I have it. And yeah, that's about it. That covers everything. Okay, and we're back. What you just saw was filmed in December 2024. We're now in May 2025. I had my entire collection done, including a very extensive setup tour, and I just wasn't happy with the footage. It looked awful. A lot of it was out of sync and had a low frame rate. It was just awful. So I junked the video. but I still wanted to show off my Laserdisc collection, so here we are. That was 6 months ago, and I do have more Laserdiscs to look at. So before we call it for the day, let's have a quick look. We've got a few sequels to look at first. Alien Resurrection. I own the first 3 movies. I figured, why stop there? I have one shitty Alien movie. Why not complete the collection? I mean, honestly, with Alien, all you need is the first 2 movies, and you don't need Alien 3. You certainly don't need Alien Resurrection, but hey, my wife's an Alien lover, so I figure I might as well complete it. On a more positive side, we have Die Hard with a Vengeance. I did plan to get this for the last video. I just never got around to it. Yeah, Die Hard with a Vengeance. It's up there with the original movie and how good it is. I don't think it's as good as the first one. It's obviously not as iconic, but it's a great time. We're going to, a slightly different direction now. Ringo Starr and his All-Star Band. This is the Laserdisc release for the first All-Star Band tour he did in 1989. I figured I had to get... I'm a big fan of Ringo and George. I figured I'd have to get at least one of these. I'll probably get a George Carlin show later. There's a couple of them that were on Laserdisc from the 80s, so I'll think about that. This is a really good disc. I've seen this show on YouTube in poor quality about a decade ago. There are a handful of DVDs for this show. Almost the level of bootlegs. But this is a really good one. It's probably because it's the original, but it is such a clean transfer. I obviously would like if the disc was complete, if the disc had the complete show, but hey, I'll take what I can get. This is a really good disc. All right, now let's talk Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny Superstar. If you haven't heard of this before, I won't be surprised. This is technically the first Looney Tunes movie ever produced, but it's not really a movie. It's more of a documentary with a handful of shorts thrown in. It features Bob Clampett and Friz Freleng and Tex Avery. It's like it's basically Looney Tunes, the history. You get behind the scenes footage. You get to see how the cartoons were made with old home movie footage. And yeah, it features a handful of cartoons. I don't remember if they're all related to Bugs Bunny. I know they talk about wild hair in this. But yeah, I wouldn't say that it's not a particularly great movie, but if you're looking to learn the history of Looney Tunes and you want to do it over an old format like Laserdisc, then I guess, yeah, pick this up. It's like I said, it's not great, but it's certainly interesting. All right, now we're moving into territory Looney Tunes fans are probably more accustomed to. The Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie. When it comes to Looney Tunes movies, this is pretty much as good as you're going to get. It's a great compilation. I reviewed this in Video Memories, actually. I called it the Chuck Jones movie, because that's basically what it is. It's a compilation of Chuck Jones cartoons. It's pretty much as good as you're going to get. It's definitely the best compilation movie for Looney Tunes. And yeah, check out my review if you want to see it. It's in the episode Bugs Bunny Movies. And yeah, this Laserdisc is actually a pain in the ass to get it. This is probably my third attempt to get it. And yeah, the one time I get it, no one else bid for it on eBay. So yay, I have this now, and it's great. Forbidden Planet, one of the best sci-fi movies of the 1950s. If I'm being real, it's a great movie, but the only reason I bought this on Laserdisc was for the cover. This is easily one of the best movie posters ever made. Even if you haven't seen the movie, you've seen Robbie the Robot. You've seen this image of him carrying the woman. Yeah, it's one of the greatest movies, and easily one of the best posters ever made. I do own the movie on Blu-ray, but I wasn't going to pass up the cover like this. Also, fun note, I was introduced to this movie through Timon and Pumbaa, of all things. There's an episode of the Timon and Pumbaa TV show called Forbidden Pumbaa, where Pumbaa gets kidnapped by an alien robot thing in order to basically clone him to help revive, I think, a nearly extinct warthog species. It was weird, and he's probably one of my favorite episodes of that TV show. I don't know if it's my absolute favorite, but it's definitely up there. So yeah, Forbidden Planet. I'd like to thank Timon and Pumbaa for helping me discover this. Now, as I stated, when I started collecting Laserdiscs, I had a list prepared of movies I loved and movies my wife loved. But there is one more. Planes, Trains and Automobiles. This is actually my mom's favourite movie ever. It's pretty much a source of comfort for her. She watches this just as much, if not more, than I do Back to the Future. She was there when it came out in theaters. She owned it on VHS. Actually, I remember finding her VHS tape like a year or two ago, and I'm disappointed I didn't keep it, honestly. Yeah, she owned this on VHS. She owned it on DVD. She technically owns it on Amazon Prime Video, and she watches this thing at least once a week. An absolute source of comfort for her. So I knew I had to get it, and it's a great movie. I don't love it as much as she does, but if you're looking for a movie with Steve Martin or John Candy, this is mandatory. It is one of their best. So yeah, great movie. It's expensive to own on Laserdisc, but we got there. Although, if you want to talk expensive Laserdisc compilations, check out The Mummy. This is a compilation of all the Karras mummy movies from Universal from the 1940s. So you've got The Mummy's Hand, The Mummy's Tomb, The Mummy's Ghost, and The Mummy's Curse. The Mummy's Hand is probably the best, and it is the only really good one, and even then it's not great. And then The Mummy's Tomb is terrible. The Mummy's Curse is terrible. The Mummy's Ghost is okay. Yeah, it's expensive, and only buy it if you're a Universal Monsters diehard. Let's have a quick look in here. It's on, I think, 3 discs, and it's intriguing. It's like when you get multiple movies on VHS, because once one movie ends on Laserdisc, it immediately starts the next one. So in a way, that's kind of a cool concept. It's perfect if you want to marathon these movies. I don't know why you would. Besides, even that, I own it on Blu-ray, so I don't know why I own all the movies on Blu-ray, so I don't know why I care. But then again, great cover. So yeah, The Mummy. These movies are shit, but you know, it's a really cool collection, and yeah, just don't bother. Wishmaster. This is another movie my wife loves. I completely forgot to get it the first time around. I remembered Alien. I remembered Jurassic Park. I wanted to get Gremlins, but those discs are hard to find at a cheap price, and especially in English. Yeah, she loves Wishmaster. She's a fan of Robert Englund and Andrew Divoff, and yeah, this is a good movie. It's not as good as she makes it out to be. The story's pretty bad, but Andrew Divoff is great as the Djinn. Great kills in it, and yeah, good movie, just not great, and my wife has terrible taste in movies. Don't tell her that. She'll be upset. Now let's talk a couple of TV shows. DuckTales. It's like the Timon and Pumbaa disc I showed earlier. It's a compilation of TV shows. It's like something you'd get on VHS, and DuckTales is good. I didn't watch it as much. I imagine it was at its peak in the early 90s, or even or the late 80s as well. That was a big deal. And then of course the movie came out. That was popular. I think. I mean, if I want to be technical, DuckTales was the first Disney show I ever saw. Looking back to the birthday cartoon collection on VHS, it has a DuckTales episode in it, and it's a good show. I didn't watch it that much. But yeah, DuckTales. Great show. But now let's get into a Disney show that I am very acquainted with. Goof Troop. I love this show in the 2000s. This is one of those shows I'd watch before school in the morning. It was this, there was Aladdin, there was Lilo and Stitch, there was House of Mouse. Goof Troop was always the one I'd catch the most. It was on at 7 a.m. I'd be up in time for it, and sure, I'd be half asleep, but it was a great show. I've been meaning to rewatch this on Disney Plus. I normally get like a couple of episodes and then I stop watching from there. This is a problem. The Simpsons, shows like The Simpsons and Looney Tunes, they've absolutely ruined my ability to watch TV shows. The latest I've done was The Office, and even then I was invested. I just couldn't put the remote down once I got to like season 2. So yeah, Goof Troop is a great show. I've been meaning to rewatch this. And yeah, Goof Troop. Great show, great Laserdisc. Multiple episodes on it. I suck. Last minute update. We've got a disc that arrived 3 days before this video came out. I want to tell a quick story. I've mentioned this multiple times before. Probably mentioned it earlier, actually. In December 1999, on Christmas Day, actually, I taped Pinocchio from TV. Showed this in Video Memories. The TV recording's up there. And yeah, it's by far the most sentimental thing in my entire collection of TV recordings. I love this to death. And of course, I had to get Pinocchio on Laserdisc. It's a mandatory movie for me. But there was one more movie I taped after Pinocchio. It was actually the next day. And if you're from the 90s, you know and love this movie. A Goofy movie. Yeah, like I said, if you were from the 90s, you had to love this movie. My cousin owned this on VHS. And if you were around in the 90s, if you saw a movie you loved, you had to get it somehow. And if you couldn't find it on VHS, you would just take it from TV. And yeah, I've not actually watched a Goofy movie in a long time. And I figured I would get it on Laserdisc. Honestly, it's kind of a symbolic thing, actually. It felt like the right thing to do to get both movies. Yeah, I haven't watched a Goofy movie in ages. I haven't watched the sequel, actually, in a long time. Actually, interesting note about this. The Laserdisc version of a Goofy movie is exceedingly rare. It usually goes for like £60, £70. I got this for, I want to say £28.50. I saw an auction on eBay. I took a chance on it. The auction ran for 5 days, not a single person bid on it. So, yay, I got a big score. And yeah, we got a pretty sick back cover as well. Of course, you've got to feature Bigfoot. Of course. So yeah. I might just do a double feature for movie night at some point. I mean, you know me, I'll never turn down an opportunity to watch Pinocchio. All right, let's get back to it. We've got one more thing to look at. Now, I'm saving the best for last. If you remember earlier when I talked about Tom and Jerry the movie, I mentioned there was a set of Laserdiscs that had the complete Hanna-Barbera lineup, or the complete Hanna-Barbera catalog. But I didn't think it was worth I didn't think it was worth investing, especially since I own the entire filmography on VHS. Well, 2 weeks after filming that segment, I saw something on eBay. All 3 volumes of The Art of Tom and Jerry for £250, all in great condition, and 2 of them were sealed. That was so tempting, but I just thought I was pushing it for the price. And then the seller got in touch and offered me a £100 discount on it. So I caved. The Art of Tom and Jerry on Laserdisc. Oh man, what we're looking at now is my favorite thing in my entire Laserdisc collection. I love these. What we have across 3 volumes is the complete Hanna-Barbera lineup filmography from 1940 to, I want to say, 1958. The prints aren't in great quality, especially at the beginning, but almost everything is uncensored. I think there's only 4 shorts that are censored, and even then, one is His Mouse Friday, which is obviously going to... The dialogue is muted in that. And one was Saturday Evening Puss because of Mammy Two Shoes, obviously. One, her dialogue was dubbed for a cameo. And then the 4th one was CinemaScope remix, so it didn't matter really. And honestly, after what I said earlier, I changed my mind. These discs are the definitive way to watch Tom and Jerry until they put out a 4K restoration, or I'll sell for Blu-ray. But if they could do 4K, I'll take it. But the only way I will give up these discs is if they do 4K restoration. Clean prints, no censorship, nothing gets cut. Original title cards if we're lucky. Until then, no. These are fantastic collections. The booklets are also worth a look. These are incredible. You've got great artwork on them. Inside you've got listings for all the shorts, including release dates. You have info on Bill Hanna and Joe Barbera, the theme music. You even get information on the CinemaScope era of Tom and Jerry in the 1950s. Although, honestly, I think calling this their classiest era is a little bit ambitious. The CinemaScope shorts were a lot lower budget and a little bit lower in quality than what came before it. Also, side 6 of volume 2 has non-Tom and Jerry shorts. You get a few things with Spike and Tyke. You get some standard MGM shorts from the 1930s. And you also get some animated sequences, including the scene in Anchors Away where Gene Kelly dances with Jerry. It's one of the most iconic animation live-action hybrid sequences in all of film. And there's also this scene from Dangerous When Wet. I've never seen the movie, but there's a sequence with Tom and Jerry swimming underwater. You know, it's alright, it drags a little bit, but yeah. Like I say, these two booklets are incredible. You would never get this with DVD or Blu-ray or even 4K these days. Yeah, that's the power of Laserdisc. The first two are excellent. If you're a Tom and Jerry fan, this has everything you will ever need. Covers everything. It has every short, mostly uncut. It's as good as you're going to get. All that being said, the third collection is absolutely terrible. This has every Chuck Jones cartoon in it, and it is... People love Chuck Jones as a Looney Tunes creator. He was excellent with that. But when it comes to Tom and Jerry, this is pretty much the bottom of the barrel for Tom and Jerry cartoons. These are the most boring things you could imagine. I remember watching the first 2 Laserdisc collections and then coming to this, and I managed to get through it all, but I wanted to blow my brains out from boredom. I would easily recommend the first 2, but I do not recommend the third one. It is incredibly expensive, especially to find it sealed, but it's just not worth the money. Unless you're a collector, and even honestly, even then, I would say just settle for the first 2 volumes. Those are excellent. This is not. And that's everything. That's every Laserdisc I own. Yeah. Want to thank you for sticking with me. I'm happy to finally have this video out. Thanks for sticking with me. Hopefully you learned some interesting things about Laserdiscs. All right. We shall see you next time. Come back in a couple of weeks, actually, and we're about to see something pointless that I was happy to be able to get done.